Hey, Slushy do Buckaroos, and how the heck are you? I'm going to be Tom the Beer and Whiskey Whisper for the last video of, Saturday until we become Sunday, man. Anyways, I'm going to finish the day, finish the day the way I started it with bad beer and cheap whiskey, or cheap beer and bad whiskey, depending on your point of view. Gonna finish it just like we started it, man. Let me put this off to the side here. Oh, so I did want to buy a kind of a cheap throwaway beer today. I don't typically drink them, but it'd be, Super Bowl. You got to have something, Anyways, I was kind of feeling cheap beerish, so I looked at the different options, and I also almost bought one because I do typically prefer cheap beer in bottles and drink it right out of the bottle. I mean, if it's bad beer anyway, I don't need to pour it in a glass and get the aromas. I don't need to do that. But I haven't had this one in a while, so I really kind of want to revisit it. And it was the same price as that other one, so it's the Yingling Golden Pilsner. It felt like, even though I don't necessarily like to support the brand for various reasons, it just felt like, oh, what the hell? Now they're all owned by horrible people. I'm gonna give this horrible person $12 of my money today. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah. Hell, it's hard to know who does what these days. They're giving money here. They're giving them. Yeah, I know. I know. I know. Was give money to this horrible person or that horrible person, or drink this bad beer. I just wanted something I could knock back and do some silly videos with. So that's why I opted with this one, the Yingling Golden Pilsner. I almost went with the other one though, only because, like I said, it was the only one of the bad beers available in bottles. Oddly enough, so I almost got it, but I really. There are some folks that really like this bad beer for hipster reasons without giving you the name of that bad beer, but that should do it. I just don't like it. And I hadn't had this one in a while, but my recollection was I liked it better than that one. And having it today, of course, it's not great, but I do. There's just something about that beer, even though some people really like it, I just don't. It's got that really sickening sweet corn syrup taste that I just despise. So, anyways, nevertheless, I just went with this bad beer over that bad beer, and now I'm gonna pour the cheap whiskey, or that was the cheap beer. This is the bad whiskey. Either way, you can frame it any way you like. Quite frankly, I just don't care. Oh, mercy! I don't give a rat's ass. So let me pour some of this whiskey in here. So yeah, so this whiskey, why do I have this whiskey? Well, it was actually a gift from my daughter for a different reason. It wasn't about the whiskey. It was that she had this bottle of Jack Daniels. On the bottom was a deal of some Ferrero Rocher, and then no, it was this was on top. Bottom was Rocher, and a can of Coke in the middle. It was framed to look like it was a power drill. Very clever on her part. So, nevertheless, I have this whiskey. So I'm gonna work through it this evening with you. This is how I started the day. I did a couple Boilermaker videos. Starting with this whiskey and this beer. So I thought, well, let's end it the exact same way we started. Not going to do the Boilermaker video per se, but I'm going to drink these two items with you. Yeah, I don't typically love this beer now that I'm drinking it now. And now part of me wishes I bought that other one. I drank the other two so fast I really couldn't taste it, but I'm like, it's not great. I don't necessarily get that sickeningly sweet uh, corn syrup taste. I mentioned that the other one tastes like to me, but there's very much a metallic flavor here. That is, I remember the first time I had this several years ago. I said, "It ain't bad." Now I'm drinking it now. It ain't good either. And but who knows? But I don't have this exactly ice cold either. It's been sitting out here a minute, so maybe ice cold will be a little bit different. But when I was doing the videos earlier, for the purpose of a Boilermaker, you don't want the beer ice cold. But I was drinking it so fast, you really couldn't taste it. But if I'm going to sit and try to enjoy a beer, it probably ought to be a little colder than I have this one at the moment. Anyway, I digress. As we all get ready for the Super Bowl tomorrow, and of course, that's a Super Bowl halftime show controversy. I haven't liked a Super Bowl halftime show in quite some time. And I know there's a lot of folks that really loved that Prince halftime show way back when. My son and I watched it. My son was a big classic rock guy. We watched it together going, what the fuck? I hated it. I thought it was terrible. But a lot of folks loved what Prince did. To me, it just seemed, I don't know, it was forced. But in fairness, I'm just not a Prince fan. I'm probably the only person on the planet that's not. Now, I'm not saying the guy wasn't an accomplished musician. He was. I just wasn't a fan of his style. Wasn't a fan of his attitude. Wasn't a fan of his ego. I just didn't like him. I didn't think his songwriting was great. I'm not saying the man wasn't a great musician. Clearly he was, but his songwriting was explicitly simple. That's going to piss off some folks right there. And I just wasn't a fan. And when I say that, I'm talking about his lyrics. The lyrics were explicitly simple. Again, the man was a great musician. I'm never going to debate that. Just didn't like him. The style, the sound just didn't do a damn thing for me. Again, and a lot of it was the lyrics. The lyrics were just so popish. The lyrics were just so damn bubblegum. I hated them. Anyways, but I digress, man. Tom, you can't say bad things about Prince. That's one person you can't badmouth. Anyway, the point I was just going back to Super Bowl shows. I mean, of course, you have the J-Lo, hero, and I don't know, all kinds of nonsense. I just wasn't a fan of the musicians, but there was just a couple that I don't want to mention the name here. I just wasn't a fan of how they put the show together. That certain things just didn't make sense to me. So why do I care about this one? And in all honesty, I don't, but I am curious. I'm not a fan of Bad Bunny. I don't know anything about his music whatsoever. But I am intrigued by the fact that right-wingers are just pissed off. And it kind of makes me wonder, we've watched a whole lot of Super Bowl shows that could have been deemed not family-friendly, and they didn't say a goddamn thing about any of them. Not a word. But the idea of a man might wear a dress seems to scare him, and that kind of makes me go, huh. So they want to back this alternative halftime show led by someone whose lyrics talk about pedophilia and rape. And I'm thinking, okay, you guys might have had something if you hired the right performer. But now you've got no leg to stand on since you hired somebody who is just, rather despicable anyway. Your poster child for family values looks like he just walked out of a meth den. Anyway, so no, I don't expect to love the halftime show, but I am curious to watch it just to see. And my question to a lot of my so-called right-wing friends out there is that a lot of them have spoke outrage about the show, but none of them have actually been able to say why, other than they don't like this, that, or the other. But when I've asked a very specific question, I asked a very specific question on my page. Why is wearing a dress not family values? Why is questioning traditional gender roles, not family values. To me, it is family values. It is everything family values stands for. And I've had a few right wing nut friends comment talking about this, that, or the other, but none of them have answered the question directly. They said, this is just going to be liberal, this, that, or the other, but none of them have said why that wearing a dress isn't family. And that's what I found the most interesting, is that every right-wing nut that has disagreed with me has never been able to answer that question simply and directly. And why having Kid Rock on their side is somehow family values. Those questions, they've somehow skirted all that. They've told me all this, that they don't like me for this or that, or this is terrible, this is just liberal nonsense. But those questions, they won't answer directly. And I found that very interesting, that they can't answer a direct question. They will tell you they don't like it. They're unhappy, but they can't tell you why they don't like it or why they're unhappy. And that's what I find interesting. People can tell you they don't like Bad Bunny. That's fine. And I don't care if you do or not. But if you're gonna respond on that particular post, you need to tell me what you need to answer those specific questions that I posed. Is how is hiring this other performer family values, and how is somebody wearing a dress not family values? If you can't answer those questions, don't respond to my post. Because I don't care about your ignorance and bigotry. I don't care about any of that. we're well aware of how ignorant and bigoted you are. I don't care about that. But but if you're going to respond on that post, tell me exactly why those two things bother you. Give me specific reasons. Answer those two questions specifically. Anyways, or just shut the fuck up. Go sit down in your little bigoted corner and go away. Do I care that he might wear a dress? No. Do I care that he might do the whole thing in Spanish? No, I don't. Why don't I? Because hell, a good portion of this land was Mexico before we took it over. Hell, I mean, this country was built on a whole lot of Hispanic labor. I don't care. I mean, we don't have a national language. We should never have a national language. And quite frankly, I wish I spoke more Spanish, but I don't give a rat's ass if it's all in Spanish. That makes me no, never mind. And I don't care that I have to press one for English. I'm not sure why that bothers people. I don't want to have to press one for English. It's a natural. Is it really that big of a deal for you to hit one? I mean, seriously, how lazy a motherfucker are you that you can't press one for English? I mean, are you really that fucking lazy and stupid? I can't press one for English, Tom, because I don't know what a one looks like. Anyways, I don't want to press one for English. Tom, that bugs me. Well, unless your ancestors are Native American, you didn't start here, okay? Your ancestors spoke another language. Most of my ancestors were Irish and German. Irish is kind of close to English, but not quite. Of course, a lot of Gaelic on my side, so that's a whole different animal altogether. And some German. I did try to learn German at one time when I was a kid. Actually, I wouldn't mind trying to learn more again because I'm intrigued by the German language because they have a lot of compound words. In fact, they've been known to have a whole sentence in one word, and I'm intrigued by that because from what I've learned recently from some friends is that the German language is very, very literal. So if they say this to you, they mean exactly that. Right? If they say this, that if these words are run together, that's exactly what they mean. That there's no gray area, and I like that. I wish English was more like that, where it was more direct and had more of a point. German seems to be, it has a point. It is a very literal language, and I like that about it. I have issues. I wanted to learn Gaelic, to be honest with you, but I have issues pronouncing some of those things. What the that's even harder than rolling my R's trying to learn Spanish and trying to understand Gaelic. I just can't get there. anyways, I digress. Yeah, that was my hardest. That was the biggest trouble I had trying to learn Spanish. Was I can't roll my R's. I spent about a year in Las Cruces, about a year in El Paso, and man, I mean, I've tried to learn some stuff, and I tried to, be able to at least be able to communicate with the folks that I worked with because I had a staff of about 32 in El Paso. But damn, I can't roll my R's for nothing. My daughter could, my wife even could. My tongue doesn't work that way. I can't roll my R's. There, that was a difficulty. Anyway, they love the people though, man. That crew I had there. If people want to tell you Hispanics are lazy, these people are just willfully ignorant. That Hispanic team I had in El Paso and even Las Cruces were the hardest working folks I've ever seen in my entire life. So don't let folks ever tell you that Hispanics don't want to work. And were all of them legal? Hell, I don't care. I mean, they had the paperwork to pass whatever. So as far as that, I don't give a rat's ass. My dad ran a catering truck and a hot truck, California, when I was a kid. We did a lot of strawberry fields to pull up and for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Hell, I was just a kid at the time, so I didn't have the wherewithal to understand that they were all probably not documented. And I just didn't give a rat's ass. Neither did he. And neither did anybody eating those frickin' strawberries. I mean, the idea, well, they should have come here the right way. Really? What exactly? Ask somebody, the next time somebody says that to you, ask them what that is. How could, no, not from your point of view, but from theirs. What should have that person done? What in their ability could they have done to come here the right way? They'll just have a blank stare, I guarantee you. It's just a stupid fucking thing to say. They should have came here the right way. Really? What is that? You asshole. Everybody wants to eat the strawberries and nobody wants to pay $10 a quart for them. anyways, I digress. It just drives me crazy that I've even had some relatives mention, well, they should have came here the right way. Really? Really, dude? You were right there with me in those fucking strawberry fields. How many folks there do you think actually came here, in your opinion, the right way? I mean, you can't be that fucking stupid, can you? I'm thinking he probably could be. Now that I've, looking back on a few things and the behavior, the things he done, yeah, he probably can be that stupid. But it just bugs me, right? I don't care how they got here. They were working hard. They were supporting the economy. I don't give a rat's ass. I do care that we now have a president that's a felon and a pedophile, but apparently they don't care about that, though. Nevertheless, here we are. Nevertheless, see, I got rambling. I meant to finish this up before we got to Sunday, and damn it, we're at Sunday. I got on a roll there, you see. Anyways, I digress. But I digress. Anyways, yeah, I don't know if I'll watch any of the game tomorrow, to be honest with you. I don't have any I don't. I mean, we stream everything now, so I don't know if there's a way to. I might watch some of it, but the truth is, I just don't care enough about it. Other than watching the commercials and my curiosity about the halftime show, just because it irritates so many out there. I'm just not sure why it bothers them that much, right? There's been other halftime shows that could have been deemed not wholesome, and yet they said nothing about it. So it's clearly they don't care about wholesome or not, right? It's the fact that a man might wear a dress and he's going to be speaking Spanish that bothers them. I just wish they had the balls to be honest about why they're angry. We're scared little people, Tom. We have tiny balls and a penis the size of a baby carrot. We're just scared. If they would just be honest, that'd be fine. But they want to hide behind, well, this is not wholesome. Well, there's been other shows you could have complained about and you didn't. So you don't give a rat's ass about wholesome. Never mind the fact that you've hitched your wagon behind a guy. I mean, your so-called wholesome show is a guy that's made a career out of talking about rape and pedophilia. So you don't give a rat's ass about wholesome. You just don't like Spanish and dresses. Let's be honest. That's my thing. At least be honest about your outrage. Just tell me you're a scared little person with a tiny penis and no balls, and I'll say, okay, I'll give you a pass. Anyways, I digress. Yeah, but I digress. See what I did there? Anyway, since we've drifted, I meant to wrap this up before Sunday, but I got talking and I didn't want to drink fast anyway. Anyways, I'm Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and I am also Tom the Beer Whisperer, Beer Evangelist, prolific beer drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and all around good guy. Slut you. Oh, excuse me. Hope I didn't get any on you.